This isn't just some Thanksgiving ritual, and it's more than a tradition. Born from similarities between each other, kept burning by the hatred for one another. For decades, Florida State and Florida stood atop the college football mountain, with only one capable of knocking the other off that peak.
Werfel lets it go again, right on the number. I tell you, gets to lose. It's a touchdown for the Gators.
I think it's time to let go.
This isn't just a game. This is an annual convention of animosity.
Last chance for Florida. Lost it deep. Green is behind the defense.
Touchdown, Florida State. Bricks, forced right.
These are the meetings that make memories.
Caught it! Touchdown!
Games in November are the games remembered.
Steve Spurrier Field in Gainesville, Florida. This is the Swamp. This is SEC Saturday night as the Florida State Seminoles visit town to take on the 11th ranked Gators. It's a program in transition, and Florida State has suddenly found its rhythm under their new leader, Odell Hagins. And they come here looking for another win in the Swamp. In a series that dates to 1958, Florida State has won 7 of the last 9. They've won 4 straight here in their visitor stadium. And if they can make it 5 in a row, they can cap their season with an exclamation point. The Gators have other ideas. Let's go down to the field. Cole Kubelik standing by with Florida head coach Dan Mullen.
Coach Mullen, you've gone out of your way this week, and things that you're going to do in this game to honor your seniors. Why does this group mean so much to you?
Well, you know, I came here 2 years ago, and these guys, you know, I didn't recruit all of them. They were here, and they bought in, though, to what we're trying to do, the greater standard that we're trying to build. They bought into that. They believed in me. They believed in our coaches and what we're trying to do, and I'm thankful for them for that.
A lot of great rivalries in college football. You've been a part of this one before. What separates Florida and Florida State?
This is a special game. You see it in the atmosphere, the crowd. This is a special game to be a part of. 2 great programs, 2 of the best programs in college football. It's just fun to be a part of.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
It took a governor's intervention to get this series to start back in the late 50s, and here we are tonight. Tom Hart alongside Jordan Rogers. You've met Cole Kubelik. There's just something different in the air when it comes to a rivalry.
Yeah, even a California kid like me grew up watching this game. We had a family friend that played at Florida State, so Florida State hats were everywhere. This was the pinnacle to me as a kid growing up. I remember watching this, and 2 teams here trying to get back to that prominence that it was at a time not too long ago.
This rivalry gets Odell Hagins' blood going. He used to stay up late on Sunday nights to watch the Bobby Bowden show past his bedtime, and now he can notch a major victory for Florida State if he can go to 5-0 as their interim head coach.
You know, this team is playing inspired football under Coach Hagins, and anytime you have the transition, oftentimes things logistically in practice change, philosophies may change a little bit, and that is having a positive impact on this team on the football field.
The last Florida quarterback to beat Florida State in this building was Tim Tebow, and it seems they've been looking for another Tim Tebow over the last 10 years since that happened. Now Florida has found a passing quarterback, and of all people, Kyle Trask.
Yeah, and Tim Tebow was not a game manager. You might say Kyle Trask is a game manager, but when I say that, it has nothing but the highest of praise. He is accurate, he is poised, and he is distributing the football at an effective level to the talent around him that Florida has.
Parker Grotehouse will kick it off for Florida State. Freddie Swain, Tyree Cleveland deep. And no return for the Gators. We showed you the numbers on Trask, and Florida finally has a passing offense. Top 20 in the country for the first time in a long time for what Dan Mullen wants to do offensively. It's the redshirt junior from Manville, Texas, who has taken over the quarterback duties. We'll also see some Emory Jones off the bench tonight for Florida.
See on this starting play as they go empty set, 4 senior wide receivers on the field. Dan Mullen did that on purpose. 1, 2, 3, 4 to honor those guys tonight. But that's the strength of this offense. You'll see and hear a lot about them as the game progresses.
Trask, after a pump fake, is able to find Freddie Swain. And Swain gets him back to the original line of scrimmage. They'll look at a 2nd and 10. Five wide, Trask alone in the backfield again. To the outside, and an early bump, and that ball is knocked incomplete. Michael Pirine, the intended receiver.
We're seeing a lot of empty formations early from Dan Mullen in this Florida offense. There's a reason they were a little unsure of how this defense was going to come out. Defensive coordinator Harlan Barnett has a background in a 4-3. Willie Taggart, for most of the year, has wanted this defense to be a 3-4. And already we're seeing some of that 4-3 quarters zone coverage. And Mullen said his answer to that will be a lot of empty formations. Create space and force this defense to play sideline to sideline.
Trask goes to the slant, complete for a first down. Van Jefferson, a gain of 19.
This is what they want to do. Motions, shifts, formations to create matchup problems. They motion a running back away from Van Jefferson. That leaves him singled up on the weak side, one-on-one, and that's a matchup Florida's going to continue to dip into. He's a talented receiver and their best.
Here's Pirine. And Pirine gets near the marker. It'll be a 10-yard gain on the ground. Trask pass happy early. And a swing out to Pirine. He gets undercut at the 40 for a gain of 8. Hampson Nasruddin, the tackle maker for Florida State. That guy is all over the field. He's coming up on 100 tackles on the season.
Nasruddin now has 40 more tackles than anybody on this football team, and he is going to need to be big tonight as Florida loves those perimeter throws. There's going to be a lot of athletes in space. The secondary's got to make tackles.
Freddie Swain. Nasruddin again and again and again. 3-time ACC Defensive Back of the Week against Boston College. He had 22 tackles, and he's coming out for at least a play. And that's a guy Florida State can't afford to lose.
Now 2 straight tackles in open space by Nasruddin. That's what they need out of him. If he's not on the field, those perimeter throws are going to be more and more effective for Florida.
And he's versatile. He can play anywhere. He's a high school basketball star in Concord, North Carolina. Play action again. Trying to set up the screen. Here's Swain. Swain breaks free. Touchdown, Florida.
We just complimented Brett Hagee on a great block. Look at the block by Nick Buchanan, number 66, getting out in front and just getting in front of Nasruddin, Florida State's best tackler, and that's the block that sprung Swain for the touchdown.
22nd passing touchdown of the season for Trask. Evan McPherson on for the point after. Tommy Townsend, the punter, is his holder. This series has come down to kicks before. An 11-play opening drive. Of those 11 plays, 8 through the air, including the final one. Trask to the senior Swain. 7-0 Gators. No chance for a return for Florida State. Let's look and Florida's opening drive touchdown.
Just true great blocks. The right tackle, Gene DeLance, is going to be the kick out, and Buchanan's going to work up, and he's going to end up rolling Nasruddin to have that block that seals it. But watch this, just bodies on bodies, and right here is going to be that block. He just squares up his shoulders and gets in the way. Sometimes you don't have to have a knockout blow. You just got to get in the way of tacklers, and that's what Buchanan did right there.
The senior Swain finds the end zone, and here's James Blackman to lead the Florida State offense. He took every snap the first 3 games of the season. It's been an up and down year for this entire Florida State program. Blackman to throw on first down. A little hook and ladder. Cam Akers around the corner. And Akers is able to take it all the way up to the 33. A pickup of 8. DJ Matthews had the catch in the toss. Kendall Briles getting creative.
I tell you what, when you draw this up, all week in practice, you're hoping it spits for about 75 and a touchdown. But you know what? Just showing that is going to soften up the outside for Florida and create everybody to have awareness on every play.
Blackman under pressure, moves the pocket and finds Gabe Neighbors. He gets undercut after a gain of 5. Kendall Briles, of course, wants to run wide open. He wants to run tempo and get up and down the field.
And just watch how quickly this offensive line gets back and set up.
Blackman, line drive, complete on the in route. It's Terry. Terry bends it back, and he stays on his feet before taken down at the 15. A gain of 47.
That is a great RPO, a run-pass option, and Blackman actually read the free safety there. He comes down. There's nobody left to guard that slant route.
This is Blackman on play action again. He finds Terry for the second time. C.J. Henderson with the stop after a gain of 13.
And how can you get to the same thing a million different ways? Exact same concept there, except this time it's the bubble route from the motion receiver that pulls a linebacker out of the window for the slant route. Great design by Kendall Briles.
Somehow Blackman was able to get out of the traffic, but just to get back to the line of scrimmage and an extra shove afterwards coming from Babion Johnson, the center.
And this is where James Blackman has got to be careful. The ball security. See that ball? He's holding it so loose there. That's one thing Kendall Briles mentioned. He's got to have 2 hands on the ball, protect that football, especially here in the red zone.
Pulls it back again. Akers had it the whole time, and Akers finds it inside the 5. Ventrell Miller, the stop. Looks like he's going to be just short of the marker, and that's going to bring out 4th and 1.
They're not even thinking about field goal right now.
Whoa. What do you think about that?
Well, they're bringing Jordan Travis, their backup quarterback, into the game. He's the wildcat guy. He's going to be the running threat. I expect quarterback run right here. To me, this should just be a downhill run.
Akers got the first down and crawled for another yard. And Florida State looking at a 1st and goal.
It's a really good job by the right guard, Cole Minshew, right here. He didn't move his guy very much, but he didn't allow any penetration on that side of the ball, which is what would have blown up Cam Akers. Quarterback sneak.
Lost the exchange, and with a second effort, he gets into the end zone. Jordan Travis recovered from a bobbled snap to take it in. His 3rd rushing touchdown of the season for a guy who wasn't eligible due to transfer until August.
And a guy that's not used to taking any under center snaps. Probably had all this season. Hasn't repped that play very much, if at all. Does a good job of securing that football and finding the gap. And I think they caught Florida off guard there. Florida was not ready, not lined up, not anticipating the quick snap there.
Ricky Aguayo on for the point after. Tommy Martin is holder. Florida scored on its opening drive. Florida State answered with a 10-play, 75-yard drive of their own. And Jordan Travis tucks it in, 7-7 early.
dribble over the top for the touchdown. Florida 31, Florida State 3. Touchdown, Florida State. This game is over. A 31-31 tie.
28 unanswered for Florida State against Steve Spurrier's squad in '94. Rock Preston had a game-tying touchdown run. That was the first year on Bobby Bowden's staff for Odell Hagins, the interim head coach this season, trying to go to 5-0 as an interim. He did it before after Jimbo didn't finish the season a few years ago. No return for Florida. Jones fakes the pass. He'll try to find some space, and there is none there. That Florida State defensive line, the strength of their unit.
And that was really my question coming into this football game. Could Florida, who doesn't run the football great, and they know it, could they run between the tackles? Because this defensive line for Florida State is huge. 346, 311, 305 across the board, 315. And sometimes when you're having trouble running between the tackles, the quarterback run fixes that because you add an extra blocker to the point of attack, which is why we're seeing Emory Jones right now.
John Hevesy, co-offensive coordinator, O-line coach for Florida. Jones waits, now dials it over the middle, and that's complete for a Florida first down. Tyree Cleveland with the catch and a gain of 16.
That right there has been the change from Emory Jones from last year to this. He is so talented, but look at the patience here. Working right, doesn't panic, steps up once in the pocket, and delivers a strike on his third read. That's something he was not comfortable doing last year. And when you got a quarterback that's as athletic as him that can do that, that's a dangerous combination.
Second drive of the night for the Florida Gators. Trask back in the game, and his delivery is a hair low, but hauled in by Cleveland for 6.
You know, we've seen mostly 3-down defensive linemen. That 3-man front for Florida State, we debated whether it was going to be 4-3 or 3-4. And with this empty set, what that does is just force those overhang defenders to be removed from the box. Florida State doesn't have a lot of twitchy pass rushers up front with those 3, giving Kyle Trask a little extra time and making it easier on that offensive line.
Trask makes a change, 2nd and 9. Pressure coming up the middle. They pick it up. He's got man coverage outside, and it's incomplete. Aiming for Copeland, who jumped on the play prior. Coverage by Levante Taylor.
That great coverage on the outside. And that was just a signaled route. So that's one thing Kyle Trask will do when he comes to the line of scrimmage. That time, man coverage from Florida State. Something we haven't seen a ton of tonight. They're more of a quarters team, which means 4 zone defenders over the top, this time in a 1 high man. So he just gives a signal backside and says, my athlete can beat yours. But that time, Florida State won it.
Complete to Kyle Pitts, the tight end again on this drive. It looks like they're going to be just short of the first down, and it'll bring up 4th and 1 from the 21.
Kyle Pitts has really emerged as one of the most talented tight ends in this conference, in the conversation for talented young tight ends in the country, leading this team in receptions and yards. And Florida's thinking about this one.
Yeah, the spot was odd. The head linesman had it back a couple yards. Now they'll correct it, and they'll keep the offense on the field. They're going to go big. Here's the line to gain cam. Forward progress at the 21.
That's a good spot.
Damian Pierce is the running back in this jumbo set. Play up, they give it to Pierce, and he gets tripped up. We got flags all over the place.
Offside, defense, no tackles line up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty results in the first down.
Costly mistake. Robert Cooper. And there's a guy who played that position so very well in his Florida State career.
Oh, and it was so close. Robert Cooper's that nose guard. And he's a big boy, 340. Watch this here. He is getting really low on all fours. He's trying to drive Nick Buchanan back, and he actually does. Look at this pressure he gets. If he doesn't lurch forward there and get off sides, he blows that play up, and they stop him on fourth.
Pierce, and they're going to reverse it with Swain. Parney with Hammond, and Hammond gets horse-collared at the 11. Nasruddin with the stop. It's a pickup of 5.
I mean, it's unbelievable. The left side, the right side. Nasruddin finds a way to get to the football sideline to sideline. He's unbelievable to watch. He's one of those guys, when you watch film, when I watch film this week, he jumps off the screen.
Dan Mullen just saw what we saw. He said, why don't we get a flag on the horse collar? Go figure. There's a lot of emotion in this one early. This rivalry game that began in 1958. It took a governor's intervention just to get the game played back then. We're tied at 7 through 1 quarter in the Swamp. We start the second quarter. Florida State and Florida tied at 7. They'll flip sides of the field. Here was the play before. Officiating crew got this one right. One hand in front, one hand in back. Dan Mullen wanted the horse collar, but they nailed it.
And this year there is an emphasis to include that nameplate, but there wasn't enough there to call it, so good no call.
Nasruddin on the field for Florida State. He'll be all over the place tonight. Emory Jones in at quarterback. And at 2nd and 5, trying to find some space. He does so. Enough for a Florida first down to set up 1st and goal. Nice 1-2 punch between Trask and Jones.
Really good, but I tell you what, Robert Cooper, number 91 for Florida State, that nose guard is a problem right now. Drove Nick Buchanan, the center, back in the backfield that time again. They got to find a way to get 2 bodies on him.
Linebacker Dontavius Jackson lost his helmet on the play. He'll come out for a play. Threw it down on the sideline back at the 20. Here's Jones. Jones finds maybe one. Nasruddin, get used to that name, stops him.
How many is that for him already? It's got to be 5?
5 through a quarter in 30 seconds.
And that might have been the first one he had any help on. He's a heck of a football player. Just one of those guys that, I mean, he's not going to jump completely off the screen on the 40 or the broad, but he's a football player.
On 2nd and goal. A spin and a lunge from Damian Pierce, and he is just short of the goal line. 3rd and 1 forthcoming for Florida.
Right now, this offensive line is really leaning on Florida State. I mentioned Robert Cooper was about the only one getting penetration. Everywhere else, this Florida offensive line is doing a really good job of getting push.
Jones out of the shotgun. Pierce gallops in. Touchdown, Florida. 2 drives, 2 touchdowns. A 14-play, 75-yard drive, and Florida 7 minutes and 13 seconds off the clock. McPherson's point after. Goes wide right. And the first big Florida mistake of the night comes on the first mixed extra point of the season for McPherson. But Emory Jones took over in the red zone. Jones in the Florida running game have given the Gators a 13-7 lead. Auburn won the Iron Bowl this afternoon.
We all expected that to be 48-45, right?
Yeah, they covered the over in the first half.
A true freshman and a backup quarterback.
Blackman at quarterback. Wants to go deep. He does. He unloads, and it is too strong. Trying to find Scary Terry, Tamarian Terry, who already has a 47-yard reception tonight.
And he's their big play guy, and this is just so unfortunate. James Blackman is stepping up in the pocket. He slips, so he's got a double pump, and watch what Terry does. He slows down right there because he sees Blackman slipped, and that's the difference between a touchdown and an incompletion. so close.
First miss of the night for Blackman. He was perfect on their first drive. Now a swing pass out to Cam Akers, one of the best receiving running backs in the country, but he's swallowed up for a loss of 3.
Love the plan early in this game that Kendall Briles has had. The RPOs have been great to Terry on the outside. Anytime you have an aggressive defense, you kind of let them play to that. If they're going to suck up and play on the zone read, you hit it behind them. But here in 3rd and long, it's not going to be an RPO. I expect something intermediate over the middle of the field.
Blackman will roll out. A pump fake might get him an extra yard, and he dives forward for a pickup of 11. First punt of the night, at least punt formation, Tommy Martin. Averaging less than 39 yards a punt. Hasn't been a strength for Florida State this year. Freddie Swain back. This is a beauty of a kick, and Swain with a fair catch driven back inside his 15. Call it a 53-yard punt for Tommy Martin. Florida back on offense when we bring you back to the Swamp. A little toss, and Kadarius Toney stays on his feet. Toney to the 35-40, trying to find the edge, and he limps past the 50 and wobbles inside the 40 for a 47-yard run through traffic. Multiple injured Seminoles back near the line of scrimmage.
This kid is absolutely electric. Every time he touches the football, that jet sweep is kind of his go-to, but they just want to get number one the ball in space, because stuff like that happens more often than not. Watch this cut. I mean, right here. Whoop. Gets a little help from the jersey pull to pull him in that direction, but not many guys can put their foot in the ground and change direction as quickly as Kadarius Toney.
Drive continues for Florida. Kyle Trask is able to find his tight end, Lucas Kroll. Kroll, a one-time Arkansas baseball player, picks up a Florida first down.
Just a really good job by Kyle Trask of being patient. Florida State's running some interesting disguises on the back end. They're hiding their coverage really, really well. They're testing Trask and his ability to be patient and read things out. He did it that time, but it's not easy. Going to bring pressure here off the edge.
They pick it up. Trask comes near side. He finds Freddie Swain. Swain stays on his feet. Touchdown. Florida from 23 yards.
This is why you want a quarterback that manages the game. A lot of times it's a negative connotation. He could take a shot to a 6'5" wide receiver in one-on-one coverage. Instead, he checks the ball down to Freddie Swain, and Freddie Swain does the rest. They're playing off. I'm going to check the ball down, get it to my playmakers in space.
McPherson straighten that one out. And Florida's got a 20-7 lead on Florida State after the Seminoles lost their leader on defense. Trask makes them pay. 23 yards to Freddie Swain down the sideline, and the Gators with an early advantage. Here in Gainesville, Dan Mullen's team up 20-7. Looking for back-to-back 10-win seasons. They had a big win against Michigan last year to close out the year. No return. Fourth turn on offense for Florida State and James Blackman. After consecutive 3-and-outs, Cam Akers finds just 2. David Reese in on the stop. Cole, this is a much maligned Florida offensive line over the years. They're going to go tempo here, but let me ask you their take after this play. Kendall Briles wanting to speed it up. Blackman dumps it off. Akers taken down. Cole, what do you think of Florida State's O-line?
The lack of development the past few years, Tom, has been disturbing. 140 sacks allowed. That's 123rd in FBS. They've allowed 583 pressures the last 4 years. Only 2 ACC teams have allowed more than that in the past 4 seasons. Lack of talent, lack of development for this Florida offensive line have not been a strong suit of this offense all season.
Blackman on 3rd and 9. Pressured. And on cue, Florida comes through with a sack. It's Zachary Carter. Jordan, any given sack, there could be multiple people to blame, but it didn't seem like Blackman had time to do much.
Nah, there was nothing downfield for him, and anytime you give Grenard and Carter some time, they're going to get there. You're going to see Grenard coming from this side and Carter working from the inside. Grenard really gets there first and forces the issue. Carter working on a stunt, wrapping back around him, is able to help finish it off. You just can't stand in the pocket against this Florida defense. They're too good.
Swain lost it after he dove after it, and Florida State will have a chance to recover it. And the Seminoles come out of the pile with the football after Swain muffed the punt. A.J. Lighton gets it for Florida State, but there's a flag back on the 5-yard line.
Illegal formation.
Oh.
Kicking team. 5 men in the backfield. After this is going to go, replay.
This is a huge mistake by Florida. You're going to see 5 guys in the backfield. Where's the 5th one here? I think they're going to say that that side was too far back. That's the thing. You got to get your helmet up around the hip area of the guard, but man,
you very rarely see that call.
No. I mean, that was not clear cut. It was not blatantly obvious. I mean, I do that right? Was I missing somebody? Well, I mean, it had to be that guy because the flag came from the left side. So that line judge was looking at the end man on line of scrimmage saying he wasn't far enough on the ball. You never see that call.
Fair catch. This time, Swain handles it. 37-yard punt. See if you can find the numbers here.
Yeah, I mean, it's the line judge is really, I think, going to say that this side here, one of those 2 guys, probably the outside guy, is not far enough on the line of scrimmage. It's the only reason the flag would come from that side. That's the only guy that line judge has to look at. That's just something that you maybe see a warning.
Sure.
You don't always see that flag thrown right away, especially when it's not that obvious.
And in a rivalry game, every break matters, so Florida State misses that opportunity. And
these are ACC refs.
Indeed, in the replay booth, but they haven't found their rhythm offensively. And with the tempo that Kendall Briles is running, if you don't find first downs, you give it back quickly.
Yeah, and it's really the first and second down lack of production that hinders the tempo that Florida State has wanted to get into.
LaMichael Pirine finds 4.
And if the defense holds stout heel, they'll get another chance before half. But I want to see him come back to the RPOs, the run-pass options, hit a couple big slants to Terry early in this football game. Florida State's offense did. I'd like to see him come back to that. That's where Blackman is comfortable, but this defense is going to have to bail them out here.
Florida will go back to Emory Jones. Redshirt freshman from LaGrange, Georgia at quarterback. Jones had to change his motion to find Pitts at tight end. Makes 2, Knowles miss, and picks up a Florida first down. He just tossed him to the side, and then a flag came in at the end.
Personal foul, face mask, defense number 20. After this is to the goal. First down.
Emory Jones is not just a running quarterback. Look at how he changes his arm angle with the defender right in his face. It's a sidearm throw. He's so talented, not just as an athlete, but his arm talent in changing angles. You're going to see here the flag at the end. That's just, you don't need to do that. That's just a lack of awareness and focus there at the end of that play.
They said 20. They meant 26. Asante Samuel. Jones backs up, throws it to the end zone for Tony. And it was too much. It had shades of a Tim Tebow jump pass, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did.
Janarius Robinson forced the inaccurate pass.
And they're going to fake a little quarterback sweep here, which they've ran a couple times tonight trying to hit Tony on the play action. But Levante Taylor, the safety there, manned up on Kadarius Toney, does a good job of, he got fooled at first, but he recovered really quickly, and there was nowhere to throw that ball.
Florida perfect in the red zone tonight. Trask will move the pocket, took a shot, and he's able to find the first row. That kid's the happiest one in the stadium.
And traditionally, this year, Florida State has been very good in the red zone, only allowing touchdowns 47% of the time, which is second in the ACC and 11th nationally. Tonight, Florida's had their way, but forcing a long third down here. Let's see if they opt to play coverage or bring some pressure. Right now, it looks like they're sorting out trying to play man coverage, but there was some confusion.
Trask, end zone, touchdown. Van Jefferson. Florida takes advantage of the confusion for the third touchdown pass of the night for Trask.
Look at the, no one lined up over Van Jefferson. Levante Taylor tries to get back there, but there was just so much confusion from the safeties, the strong safety, free safety, and the nickel back about who was manned up on who. And by the time they figured it out, Taylor was too late.
Remember, they only needed 40 yards after the short punt. Two of the four senior wide receivers for Florida have found the end zone tonight. It was Swain twice and now Jefferson in on the fun. I think these senior wide receivers are keeping these footballs tonight. And why not? Kyle Trask has thrown 3 touchdown passes. He came out of the bullpen September 14th against Kentucky when Felipe Franks was lost for the season. He led Florida to a come-from-behind win. And that was a turning point in both Florida and Kentucky's season.
Offense yet tonight.
They're bringing Jordan Travis to start this drive, and Travis dumps it off to his tight end, Gabe Neighbors, and Neighbors upended by Henderson. Interesting that when Kendall Briles was brought aboard, Florida State wanted an up-tempo offense. That didn't necessarily jive exactly with what Willie Taggart's background is as a West Coast Harbaugh guy. So Briles is trying to institute this up-tempo on-the-run offense. Handoff to Akers, and we were talking to him yesterday. I said, man, I went and watched you guys practice at Baylor a few years ago. And Jordan, it was one of the most incredible practices I've ever seen. It looked like a basketball practice. Down the field, 80 yards one way, back 80 yards the other way. No time to fix mistakes. You do that in the film room. You just go, go, go. Well, Kendall Briles has been trying to run this offense on game day without getting a whole lot of up-tempo reps during the week of practice until the coaching change occurred.
Almost none. And if you don't practice tempo, there's no way you can flip the switch under stress, under noise like this, and suddenly operate effectively at the speed you want to.
Second straight sack for the Florida defense. James Houston and Ventrell Miller.
As James Houston here walked out over the 3-receiver cluster, but he had a safety over the top of him, so you knew he was going to end up coming. He's going to come off this left side. And again, coverage downfield was good, and Blackman, I mean, his clock is going, but he's got nowhere to throw the football. When you start in those clusters with 3 receivers close, sometimes it takes longer for those plays to develop. And when you got pressure in your face, you just don't have the time to let the play develop and get rid of the ball.
Swain is the coordinator.
A boomer from Tommy Martin. And Swain had to make a late adjustment to handle that one. 50-yard punt. Pirine split out wide. And they go behind Pirine to Josh Hammond. And Hammond takes it down the sideline for a big play for Florida. Give him a chance before the half ends. 31 yards.
I mean, look, it's exactly what I said. A short throw gets your athletes in space. That time it was Josh Hammond, but with no Hamsah Nasruddin out there, the safety making all the tackles, it's been tough on the perimeter to get those guys down for Florida State.
And that one tipped. And it caroms incomplete. Stanford Samuels III, whose dad played at Florida State, in on the pass coverage for the Seminoles.
25 seconds here, both timeouts.
Is that hard to see for Florida, or something that they didn't expect with Rice playing safety?
It's hard to see the first time, and Dan Mullen's really got to rely on Brian Johnson, his quarterback coach and co-offensive coordinator, up in the booth to recognize that, and then together figure out how they want to attack it. But they're still in it. That's Emmett Rice back there playing center field.
Trask going deep down the sideline. Incomplete, trying to find Trevon Grimes. It's unbelievable. By the way, Brian Johnson was a great quarterback in his day at Utah, where he played originally under Dan Mullen and Urban Meyer when Alex Smith was the quarterback. And then for Kyle Whittingham, and he took him into the top 10.
I'm just surprised they haven't tried to attack that middle of the field.
Sure.
Yet. I mean, as soon as you see him, I'm running a post. I'm running two guys at him.
He'll come out for now, and they'll make a change.
Unique way to try to take away those short throws. And they gambled a little bit, but it paid off.
They survived. Quick hitter to Swain, and he'll get out of bounds with 15 seconds left in the half. It's a pickup of 6.
Right now, you'd like to get, maybe 7 more yards or so to have a comfortable field goal.
It's 4th down. So with 15 seconds left, they'll go ahead and try for a long one for Evan McPherson. Dan Mullen's got incredible confidence in McPherson, whose long this season is 48.
Like, you get a quarterback in me all excited about a linebacker playing free safety, and I'm not looking at the down distance.
McPherson set a Alabama State record for a field goal without a tee from 60. Tommy Townsend is holder. He's got the leg. And he did it again. A 50-yarder to extend Florida's lead. 23-point lead for 11th ranked Florida, looking for their 10th win of the season and looking for their first home win of the series since Tim Tebow was quarterback. Let's go down the field. Cole with Dan Mullen.
Over 300 yards of offense, 30 points on the board in the first half. Outside of that last play, how much fun are you having tonight?
Oh, we're having a good time. We got to keep playing hard, though. You know, it's a 4-quarter game. I think we're executing pretty well. We're running the ball well on defense. Gave up a couple big plays on the first drive. Missed a couple shots on offense I thought we had, but we got to come out here, execute, play really hard in the second half.
You said you weren't sure about what looks you were going to get defensively. You've had a lot of success in empty sets with no running backs. Why is that?
Well, they're giving us a lot of different looks. But for us, we get to spread them out. It kind of defines, simplifies what they're going to do and allows us to create matchups that are advantageous to us. So, but, we got to come out. Like I said, we got to keep rolling here in the second half and come out pretty strong.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
One big miss for Florida State safety Hamsah Nasruddin, lost in this game after 5 tackles. Let's get you back to the studio. Dari, Chiz, and Doring. Florida State and Florida. Odell Hagins played in this rivalry. He's coached in it for decades, and he finds his team trailing by 23 at the half. His quarterbacks have been under pressure all night, including James Blackman. He'll try to find some rhythm in the second half. On the Florida side, Dan Mullins has a quiet confidence. His team trying to move up in the bowl pecking order with win number 10, and it's happened behind the play of Kyle Trask. Welcome back, everybody. Tom Hart alongside Jordan Rogers, Cole Kublik down on the sideline. Florida State early had great rhythm, but off script, they haven't been able to make anything happen.
Yeah, actually a few chunk plays to Terry early, but they haven't been able to get the ball out of Blackman's hands quickly. They have to do that in the second half, and defensively, they got to get pressure on Kyle Trask. They've been going empty. He's had time, and he's picking them apart.
Florida scored on each of their first 3 possessions. It was a 21-point outburst behind Kyle Trask, and they really haven't slowed down much since. Florida State will receive the kick to start the second half. Fair catch taken at the goal line. Let's check in with Cole Kublik.
Hey, Tom, spoke to Florida State interim head football coach Odell Hagins coming out of half. He said, we've got to get back to the Florida State standard. He said, we're going to stay with our fundamentals in the second half. Don't expect any big adjustments. I asked him about the quarterback situation. He said, we're going to stay with the same plan that we had coming into the football game, coach it the way we had planned all week. No big changes for Florida State, according to Coach Hagins here in the second half.
Trying to find that standard. Thank you, Cole. Meanwhile, here's a look at the numbers. Florida State just 95 yards of offense and 4 first downs.
And 45 of that came on one chunk play to Terry on the outside.
Blackman on the draw to Cam Akers. Ventrell Miller after a gain of 2 with the tackle. So what can Kendall Briles do within the scope of this offense to try to get something going in the second half?
Well, he's got to be better on first down about finding easy throws for Blackman to get the ball on the perimeter. You see a first down play here, just 2 yards. That doesn't do a ton.
Florida 12th in the country overall defense, 23rd against the pass. Blackman pulls it back and completes another for a first down. Keith Gavin for 16 yards in the senior from Crawfordville, Florida, with his first catch of the night.
Another RPO, a run pass option here, and this is the 3rd RPO they've ran in this game, and all have gone for at least 15 yards. Blackman a little bit behind on that one, but Gavin with a great job of catching that. That RPO has been good to them tonight.
Blackman on play action. Gets turned around, lets it go as he's dragged down and nobody home. Adam Schuler and Luke Ankrum brought the pressure on Blackman. They've dirtied his uniform pretty good tonight.
Yeah, they're trying to throw a backside wheel route to tight end number 6, Trey McKitty. Had to sit out the Alabama State game because of an injury. Good to have him back, but just great coverage on the outside by Ventrell Miller, the linebacker.
Double pass coming. DJ Matthews can't quite get it off. Play fake will buy him some extra time. And then he flicks it downfield and completes it somehow to Terry. Tamorian Terry takes it for 25 yards on what was designed to be a throwback, and they finally got to it.
That is as good of an individual effort as you may ever see on a football play. DJ Matthews is trying to throw the football. He makes about 3 or 4 guys miss. Pump fake, cut, and then here, just take it.
Opening drive, second half, Florida State. Akers behind his offensive line finds 4.
I mean, that was unreal.
The ad lib just to underhand flick it to complete it to Terry was as creative as you get.
I mean, he went skirt, skirt, and then underhand throw.
I have no idea what those sound effects mean, but I like them.
You could see. That's exactly what he did.
8th play of the drive. Hit from behind. End zone shot and incomplete. Matthews, the intended receiver, and Blackman got folded up again.
See the pressure here, a hard play fake. Henderson coming off the edge. Blackman never saw him, and that affected the throw. Just a little behind as he felt that pressure right at the end.
3rd down, 6. Blackman to the outside. Incomplete. Matthews defended by Wilson, who flops after a shove, and it drew a flag.
That was a straight slap to the helmet. DJ Matthews just hit Marco Wilson over the head. A little frustrated. They had a wheel route called. It's a perfect call for man coverage, which is what they got, but Marco Wilson had perfect coverage, and DJ Matthews is going to get flagged here.
DJ Matthews must have a heck of a right hook.
After the play, personal foul, offense number 7. 15-yard penalty, 4th down.
Whoop! It was a little late on the flop there.
They have an acting school here in Gainesville?
Yeah, or he watched a lot of Divock back in the day.
Yeah, that could be it. Jeez.
Best part about that was the reaction from his teammates down here. They loved it.
I mean, can you blame him? I guess he's got slapped over the head.
Went down like Triple G hit him. Here's Aguayo for 48. And just sneaks through. So Aguayo able to take advantage. A 9-play, 44-yard drive as Florida State is able to find the scoreboard on their first drive of the second half. Extra yardage, no bother for Aguayo. He's been money on the road in his career. From the swamp, Gainesville, Florida. Yeah, Florida State has put together a score to start the second half. Trailing by 20. Tyree Cleveland, senior out of Houston, will let it take a hop, and he will take a knee in the end zone. Trask on a crossing route is able to find Van Jefferson. But to repeat what you said, we don't need to establish the run, but we don't need. I'm sorry.
We're not going to abandon it.
We're not going to abandon it, but we don't need to establish it.
And even teams that you talk to that throw the football really well, you'll sit down with coaches and they'll go, well, you know, we still need to establish the run. It helps us do X, Y, and Z.
Sure.
Florida's not like that. You know, Dan Mullen was saying a couple of weeks ago, Brian Johnson is up on the headset saying, hey, stop trying to run the ball so much. Like, let's just do what we do best and throw it.
Trask on a swing pass to LaMichael Pirine. So breaking one tackle is a gain of 2. Okay, so usually when you hear the opposite, we need to establish the run. They're talking about keeping a defense honest, even if they're going to be pass first, to open up the passing game. How does Florida open up their passing game without doing that?
Well, you see so many sets where they're 4 and 5 wide. They spread teams sideline to sideline, which creates space. And you're going to see here they're going to come out with 4 wide receivers, which is going to create that space that they need. They're also so good at the short passing game that it ends up being just an extension of the run.
4-man rush over the middle. What a catch by Kyle Pitts. Trask able to fit it in there between defenders. It's a gain of 13 and a Gator first down.
It's really just the accuracy of Kyle Trask. I mean, great coverage here. There's not really any space for this football except exactly where Kyle Trask throws this. Great coverage. Pitts tries everything to do to get open, and that's why they don't have to run the football, because they have a quarterback right now that can be accurate with all these underneath throws. The clock keeps moving. They get 2, 3, 4 yards here and there on first and second down, and the offense just keeps clicking.
Florida State showed pressure, didn't bring it. And now Trask chased, and he flicks it to Pirine. An off-balance catch is going to turn into a big gain, and Pirine takes it all the way down near the 15. A pickup of 33 after the pressure flushed Trask.
Trask wanted to work to the right side, but Van Jefferson was double covered. Does a great job of escaping to his left. And has there been a back that's been more impressive catching the football this year? Obviously, Najee Harris has done a lot catching the football, but Michael Pirine has been a weapon on the outside.
First and goal, Jones shows run, pulls it back to slant, and to the end zone. Touchdown, Van Jefferson, senior's second score of the night.
Second touchdown for Jefferson, second one on safety, Levante Taylor. The first one, Taylor wasn't lined up right this time. He was, and he was just beat at the line of scrimmage on a slant route. And I mean, Van Jefferson is absolutely one of the more talented receivers in the SEC.
McPherson to attempt the extra point. Townsend holding.
Evan McPherson on for the point after. Amidst the fireworks smoke. And he punches that one through. Number 11, Florida, with a 27-point lead. Both quarterbacks have thrown a touchdown for the Gators tonight. Trask with 3, and now Jones to Jefferson. All right, Dari, thanks. Jimbo Fisher has a painting hanging in his office at A&M of the game-winning touchdown in that 7 overtime game. The LSU folks are aware of it. They're not real pleased. It's turned into a fun rivalry. James Blackman's been pressured all night. He's got Cam Akers next to him in the backfield. Blackman incomplete. Back end coverage from Marco Wilson. It was a 56-27 final today in Big Ten country. Fields a 300-yard game. Trevor Lawrence threw for 295 and 3 touchdowns. No contest in Columbia. And Georgia went into Midtown Atlanta and hammered the Yellow Jackets 52-7.
Not too much drama today outside of that Alabama-Auburn game. That was enough for the whole weekend, but
probably enough for everybody. Terry with the catch, gain of 6. You surprised that some of those rivalry games weren't closer?
You know, I definitely thought Michigan's defense was going to be able to hold Ohio State to, I don't know, less than 40. I mean, around there instead of 56. You thought if they could do that, it might be a game, but
tough to win when you give up a 50 burger.
Yeah. And you look at Michigan's, I mean, yeah, Michigan's offense against a good Ohio State defense. They scored enough points in your mind before that game. You got to be thinking, if we can score that, we got a chance.
But a bit of frustration on the Florida State sideline.
First down, Florida State at the 38.
Go figure. The leader, Odell Hagins, is playing peacemaker. Complete to the logo and a first down to Terry. And he stayed on his feet for a while as Florida tried to rip it out. Gain of 12.
Tom, you mentioned Odell Hagins. I talked to Damian Craig, who was on staff with him at Florida State, and asked him, I said, just give me something cool about how he handles himself in practice, something that he does. And he said he's got this gray sweatshirt with the sleeves cut off. And he said, if you see Odell Hagins in this gray sweatshirt with the sleeves cut off, everything's going to be ramped up. He is a totally different human being.
It's like Superman's cape, huh? Here's Akers, stumbled through the hole, but staying on his feet. He's at the 20, trying to win a foot race to the 10, to the end zone. Touchdown, Florida State. Cam Akers from 50 yards out.
It's just a great block here by the left tackle, Ryan Roberts there. He drives his guy so far inside that the outside backer that's in position can't correct inside enough, and Akers is able to split it and use his speed for the touchdown. The linebacker was sitting there, but that left tackle's block was so good, he drove his man down by the center, which opened up a big hole for Akers.
The 5-play, 75-yard drive. Akers carrying the bulk of the load. Ricky Aguayo for the point after. And he boots it through the uprights. Cam Akers eats up 50 yards on this stumbling touchdown run in the swamp. We got a 20-point game. Cole, looks like the sweatshirt worked. You're talking about Odell Hagins and his sweatshirt of choice.
There's a shot of it right there. And then I asked him before the game, I said, Coach, did the sweatshirt make it out this week? And he just kind of laughed and sat back, and he said, you know, I had to get it out. Obviously, Florida week. You talked earlier what he thinks about this Florida football team. Tom said, I had to try to ramp up the intensity. So, yes, it did make an appearance in practice.
Nicest guy in the world. But every coach that we talked to after Hagins, when we asked how he felt about Florida, they said that's when you see the rage. was Deion Sanders' roommate his freshman year. Here's Tyreek Cleveland trying to return the favor. And Cleveland got tripped up by the kicker. Lost the ball after he was down. It's a 40-yard return. And some explosive plays on both sides here in the second half.
Cleveland just about takes this the distance. The kicker, oh, come on. It's a great play by the kicker.
Parker Grotehouse getting it done.
Yeah, get low, fetal position, stick an arm out. No, you can't blame, I mean, trust me, I'm not making fun. You can't blame a kicker. You got a guy running full speed at you. You don't do tackling drills. Like, just get in the way somehow. He did his job there. Good job stopping a touchdown.
Out to the tight end. Pardon me, this is Tyreek Cleveland. And Cleveland cuts it back inside. It's a gain of 25. They're dropping the linebacker, Leonard Warner, back as a safety again. Trask over 300 yards. He's got 314.
Boy, the first touchdown on the screen play. Gene DeLance, the right tackle, made a great block. Here again, 56, locking up the defender on the outside, finishing him off, and that was the block that sprung Cleveland for the big gain.
Since the start of 2010, all other Florida quarterbacks have combined for only 3 300-yard passing games. Trask has another to his name here tonight. Double pass coming. Kadarius Toney wide open through the hands of the intended receiver. Ciante Lewis, and that'll go for nothing.
Man, that is actually a really good throw by Kadarius Toney.
Army Dante Lang, this year's tight end.
We saw Terry for Florida State stutter on a deep throw from Blackman. This one, you see just a little bit of hesitation there by Lang. A little stutter step, just one step that slowed down, and that's the difference. He's still got to come down with that one, but just trust it. I know he's a receiver. I know he doesn't throw you the ball much, but he's going to get it out there.
This time Toney will just keep it himself. He got a key block, and he stayed on his feet inside the 10. How'd he do that? He was like a gymnast sticking the landing, and he took a divot out of the yard. A gain of 19.
Wow. This is what I do from about 85 yards out with my pitching wedge when I have no feel. Boom, see that divot? That's what I look like. But
Trask 3 rushing touchdowns on the season. Oh, that was early. Second time Robert Cooper got aggressive.
Cooper, the 340-pound nose tackle.
Offside, defense, number
right
91.
Here, trying to get a jump.
At the distance of the goal, still first down.
He's timed a few up really well tonight. That's the second time they've caught him. That's a guy that last summer was over 390, just under 400 pounds. He's really got his body in shape. He's still a big boy at 340 and a force to be reckoned with down there at nose guard.
Actually came back from Thanksgiving break lighter.
Yeah.
I wish we could all do that.
Doesn't happen for me.
3 tight ends in the game for Florida, including Kroll. Out of the eye. Damian Pierce stops short of the goal line.
Pierce.
And probably the reason we're not seeing the quarterback sneak is because Robert Cooper down there and the other couple defensive linemen Florida State has, they're all well over 300 pounds. That's why Florida tried twice now to get towards the edge off tackle.
That includes Corey Durden, 300-pounder right next to him. Out of the eye again.
Now he's sneaking.
Trask looking for some help from his friends. They will move the pile closer, but not in. Kenmore gamble from his tight end spot, trying to shove Trask, but he got turned around with his back to the line.
You can always tell when a quarterback takes almost a sprinter stance. That foot comes way back. See that left foot? Well back. It's not used to doing that, but that play is made by Robert Cooper. I mean, he blows Nick Buchanan up off the ball as he's done a couple times. That's a tough task for Buchanan, and he stops that thing.
We got 6'2", 340, and he's hunkered down in that 4-point stance. His face mask is 6 inches off the grass. That's a tough task for the center.
That's impossible. What do you have to do there, Cole? You played
bear
center.
crawl. You just bear crawl. You just hope that you get as low as possible and try to get a stalemate. That's the win.
Trask, quick hitter. It's blown up by Florida State. Tyree Cleveland had nowhere to go. Stanford Samuels all over him.
And this is one of the reasons that Florida State's been so good all year in the red zone is you can't move them between the tackles. They're too big, they're too physical, and they've tackled well on the outside despite losing Nasruddin as well as Fagan.
Tyree Cleveland has yet to get up for Florida. Trask checks on him. A play that lost 3 yards and maybe more. It's a 20-point lead for 11th ranked Florida over their rivals from Tallahassee. A 4th down and goal coming up for the Gators as we head to the 4th quarter in the Swamp. The Tom Petty is the heading of the 4th quarter. If Florida has it back down tonight, they're looking for their first home win in a while against Florida State. And they head to the 4th with a decided advantage. Florida on 4th and goal is going to attempt a chip shot field goal, 21 yards from McPherson. McPherson is made from 50. He's made from 20. And Florida's got a 40-17 lead. Got a party here in Gainesville today. 11th ranked Gators with advantage. Sam Hart alongside Jordan Rogers. Florida State's got some decisions to make within this program and where they want to go in the future. How long before it takes them to get back to national relevancy? And the bar that is set there, the standard, is national championships.
No, I think it's going to take some time. I mean, yes, they have talent in key places, but they're going to lose some as well. They got to develop players better. It's the same problem that Michigan has had. They've been up there every year as one of the top recruiting schools, but they're not developing guys. They've had that same problem here. They get talent in, they just don't develop them well.
So Willie Taggart didn't work out. How does that affect where Florida State might go in the coaching search? Because so often we see the pendulum swing all the way to the opposite side of the guy that you just had.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I think first and foremost, you have to get, in a way, a splash. I mean, let's be honest. You need to make a splash at Florida State. You need to have a hire that can bring some weight recruiting, first and foremost.
Keith Gavin on the return. There's no better recruiting bed than the Sunshine State. Florida's defense has been menacing.
And this is what Kendall Briles was worried about, this defensive front for Florida. They are so athletic and so talented. Grenard on the outside is one of the better players in the entire conference. And they have been all over James Blackman all night as Florida State tries to push the ball downfield. Coverage on the back end has been great, and that's allowed this defense, Zachary Carter, Jonathan Grenard, to get to the quarterback time and time again.
And living up to their reputation, one of the best at bringing pressure in the country. Ventrell Miller with the tackle on Akers. Akers over 100 yards now on his 17th carry.
Well, I'd say I think if Jonathan Grenard's healthy the entire season, we're probably talking about him right there next to Derek Brown, neck and neck, as being SEC Defensive Player of the Year. It's just been phenomenal. He's
really stepped up in the absence of Jabari Zuniga. His 26 career starts, but did not see action in this one. Zuniga's been in and out of the lineup over the course of the season. The Florida team with only 2 losses in Jacksonville against Georgia and on the road against undefeated LSU. And you wonder, as the bowl pecking order starts to take shape here with just Championship Saturday to go, if Florida might end up in the Orange Bowl.
I mean, they have an extremely impressive resume. Those 2 losses coming to 2 of the top teams in the country. And right now, if you put them up against Alabama, I mean, their losses are definitely better than Alabama, and they have better wins as well.
Oh, my goodness, they got him again. It's like a Sun Sports replay. Another Florida sack.
That's tough about being at the end of the game. Florida knows you got to throw the football downfield in order to do so. You got to wait for it to develop, and right now this Florida defensive line is just teeing off. I mean they know where Blackman's going to be. They know he's going to have to hold on to it to push it downfield, and they're taking advantage of it. Really frustrating for a quarterback when that happens.
Kadarius Toney back. Toney to midfield. What do you do if you're Florida State? How do you fix it?
You better find a developer. You better find an offensive line coach, maybe even two. You know, you saw Alabama do it a couple years ago with Mario Cristobal. He handled the tackles and tight ends, and then Brent Key would handle the center and guards. But you need to get somebody with experience that's been around quality offensive lines. And I think the other part, too, is get a system that fits the offensive lineman you're going to be able to recruit and plug in. You know, it's one of the things that Dan Mullen does better than any coach in college football. He fits his system to the talent that he has. But you've got to get a developer in for that position, because it's not just about bringing in talent. It's developing that talent and finding a system that can help those guys be successful.
Yeah, I mean, think of what Mullen was able to do and how he was able to adapt a system like he did at Mississippi State for a number of different quarterbacks. Nick Fitzgerald, Dak Prescott, the different skill sets he had there. Felipe Franks, that's a dynamic guy that can run and throw, strong arm guy, and Trask, that's a lot more immobile, a pocket guy. And then a guy like Emory Jones you see out there that's completely dynamic, throwing and passing the football. I think the staple of Dan Mullen as a coach is just that, his ability to completely change things and continue to be successful no matter the type of quarterback or player that's in there. That's what developing talent is about. And there's some coaches that are good at X and O's. There's some that are good at recruiting. There's some that have it all and can develop guys. And he's been able to do that.
There's Felipe Franks in the sideline. He was out there pregame chucking some passes around with a boot on his foot, wearing a Bengals jersey. Emory Jones lets it fly. What an outstanding catch made by Jacob Copeland. It's a gain of 16.
This is a rip now. I mean, he's flat-footed in the pocket. Got some pressure coming to his left side, and he just rips that one on the money. Watch this. We're going to have a full quarterback room next year.
Yeah, a lot of talent in there. Florida finds its 10th win of the season. Florida State got their bowl eligibility last week against Alabama State. Look to start another postseason streak. Remains to be seen who will be the head coach. The process has started. They hope to name one soon. No question who the leader is in Gainesville. Back-to-back 10-win seasons for Dan Mullen and his squad, and a big bowl in their near future. Cole Kublik standing by with Coach Mullen.
Coach Mullen, back-to-back 10-win seasons. You beat Florida State at home to cap it off. How are you feeling right now?
Felt pretty good, you know. I mean, great win by our guys. Great way to put the seniors out. Undefeated season here at home. Great year for all of us, and here, and hopefully now on to another great bowl game.
You mentioned your seniors. You talked to us about them. You did some different things with your lineup to try to celebrate that group. What does this particular group mean to Florida football?
Well, I think they're a special group. You know what I mean? They came here. We got out. I got here 2 years ago. We talked about restoring the Gator standard, and those guys did a great job of doing that, of coming in here, believing what we're going to do. Like I said, back-to-back 10-win seasons for the seniors, right? And it's, I mean, it's awesome for these guys, awesome for the kids, awesome for the Gator Nation. I want to thank the Gator Nation. Talked about winning at home. You got to, right? If they come, we're going to win at home. They created home field advantage for us all year, and that's been pretty special.
Nobody can doubt the trajectory of your program, but you mentioned that Gator standard. How close is your program to where you want it to be right now?
We're getting there. You know, we got to go. We want to go compete for SEC and national championships. We're a couple points away from that, you know, this year, but hopefully get another New Year's Six bowl. You know, I saw last week. You never know. Baylor beat a 6-win team like we did tonight. We beat them even bigger. They jumped up like 5 or 6 spots, so maybe we'll do that this week.
Can you just take us through the development of Kyle Trask across the course of this season? Why has he been able to improve so much?
He's done a great job, not just this season. Since the day we've gotten here, he's worked. You know, he's worked his tail off. Brian Johnson does a great job with the quarterbacks, developing them, working every day. And, Kyle, since the day we got here, has been working. When he got his opportunity, when his number was called, he was completely ready, and it shows. So many guys in college football today, are all about, hey, if I'm not playing right now, I'm out. I'm not worried. All he did was worry about his growth, worry about his development. And he did. And when his number was called, he's completely ready. And look at the year he's had. So it's a great lesson for people in college football to worry about what's important, which is getting better every day as a player.
Thank you, Coach Mullen.
Thank you.
Celebration for the Mullen family, daughter Breland, son Cannon. And tonight, the Swamp swallowed up Florida State. James Blackman and the FSU quarterback sacked 8 times tonight in the series that belonged to Florida early but had been Florida State's late. Goes back to the Gators, their first win at home against their rivals from Tallahassee since 2009. Our final, Florida 40, Florida State 17. It's been a wonderful regular season for our entire SEC Network crew. For Cole Kubelik, Jordan Rogers, and everybody here in Gainesville, I'm Tom Hart. So long from the Swamp.